This is in response to Dr. Paul Krugman's article in the New York Times on Monday, July 27th, 2015, Zombies Against Medicare. Now, Medicare, which is the insurance program for seniors, I think 65 and older, I better look into that so I can get it, turned 50 just in the last week or so. It has been a tremendous success. It's been a tremendous success for seniors in that they can get medical attention and they don't have to break their bank. But the right hates it. They've always hated it. Ronald Reagan campaigned against it back in the early 60s. The typical type of Republican talking points is that it's going to cost an incredible amount of money. It's going to bankrupt the country. All this stuff that never happened, but he advocated for it then. And of course, the reason why he says zombies is these things keep coming up. They keep dying and they keep coming up again. Jeb, who's back on the campaign trail, who's maybe 5 or 10 years behind the times because he's been out of it for so long, is talking about phasing out Medicare, and basically, and that the people that we need to increase the ages for Medicare. And, of course, these things have been debunked for a long period of time. But, again, they keep coming up. They keep coming up and they won't die. And the big question is why won't they die? Why is it that the Republicans will always go against something like Medicare? There are a couple reasons for that. Number one, Republicans hate government. Number two, anything that the government does and does well, they have to hate even more because it proves that government does well. The Republicans basically only want government to do a couple things well. One, the military well, and two, the courts well. So they want to stack the courts. They want to have the military so we can bomb the hell out of anybody when we feel like it. But what really gets their goat is when the government does things and does things well. Now remember, Medicare costs a lot less to administer than private insurance plans. And the question is always, why is that? You have big government bureaucrats and all this bloated government stuff. Well, no, it doesn't really work like that in the real world. The real world is you have Medicare. It's set up by the government. They have their checks and balances in there. You have bureaucrats. You have analysis. You have basically the government looking into how to get the best bang for buck for the senior citizens. But in the private sector, when you have insurance, you have marketing, you have outrageous payrolls for the people at the top, you have shareholders. Everyone's got to get their piece of the action. So who gets screwed? The insured gets screwed. So Medicare works much more efficiently than private private insurance. But what do the Republicans want to do? They just continue to want to get rid of Medicare. And how do they want to do that? Right now, they call it privatization by bringing in vouchers. So that, let's say when I turn 65, I get a voucher for, I can buy $5,000 worth of insurance a year. Well, they're pretty smart. They know what's going to happen. Is that they're never going to vote to make it any bigger as inflation kicks in. So my $5,000 just keeps on going down and down. And of course, since I have to buy into a private insurance program whose administrative costs, I believe, are capped at 15 or 20%. But before that, they weren't even capped at that. The only reason why they're capped at 15 or 20% now is because of Obummercare. So what we have here is Republicans continuing to try and screw with anything that works well for the government, in this case Medicare. They want to get rid of it because they want to bring private insurance in. They want to screw seniors over, but they want to couch it in words that make it sound like they're really saving the plan from those death panels of Democrats and not from what it is their own thing. So be wary of that. This is what is going to go on all throughout the campaign, one of many issues. And I'm very glad that Dr. Krugman pointed it out, that Medicare has been an outstanding success all the way through. But you're never going to hear that from our friends on the Republican side.